The research is a culmination of 12 years of study, but I like to look at my arc with this population and thinking of this broader question of what happens to undocumented immigrant youth as they make critical transitions to adolescence and young adulthood as a kind of more 24-year arc. So before academia, I spent 10 years working as a youth worker in Chicago. So living and working in this immigrant community over the span of 10 years, I got to know many children and their families really well and got to know very up close the ways in which kind of larger problems, immigration, poverty, housing insecurity really framed their everyday lives. So I saw many young people, again, as they hit these critical transition periods, as their friends were moving forward, getting driver's licenses, getting first jobs, thinking about college, applying for financial aid for college, starting careers, meeting each other for drinks after work, while their friends were moving forward, doing all of these really important kind of defining adult rites of passage. These young people had no choice but to stay stuck. That's what began this really kind of long-term inquiry into this basic question: what happens to these undocumented young people as they make these critical transitions through adolescence and young adulthood? This blocked mobility creates a lot of stress, and these young people over time must learn what it means, learn what it takes to be an undocumented immigrant. But was really overwhelming in these interviews and in the life histories of the young people that I met was this connection between their undocumented status and their mental and physical well-being. So almost to the person, the young people that I met talked about chronic headaches, about chronic toothaches, about trouble sleeping, problems getting out of bed in the morning, sleeping problems, thoughts of suicide, attempted suicide. So by the end of my study, it was very clear that for these young people, undocumented status was bad for their health, that there's a very strong link between their undocumented status and strained mental and emotional and physical well-being. There are certain protections afforded to undocumented young people. There are now policies that allow for broader access, but oftentimes you find that people at the street level, be they teachers, police officers, counselors, healthcare professionals, are not always aware of the protections and the rights of these young people. And so what we see happening oftentimes is a violation of rights by these institutional agents who are charged with enforcing laws but don't always know the policy. There is a tension in policy between protecting children on one hand and enforcing this kind of this urgent need to enforce laws and to be tougher and tougher on enforcement. And young people seem to be caught in the middle of that in the US and also in Europe. The lessons that we take from that, one certainly is that to push for change, whether that's in the United States or whether that's in Europe. Certainly the bigger kind of efforts for regularization or legalization are critical, right? And those are that's really the tide that will lift all boats. That's what will allow people to participate fully, to contribute fully, to feel as though they belong. There's important roles for teachers to play, for social workers to play, for healthcare professionals to play, for a number of people within our communities to play to enable young people and their families to have better lives.